Intro. The Appalachian Mountains are ancient, older than the Atlantic Ocean, older than the dinosaurs. Their story stretches back over 480 million years, making them one of the oldest mountain ranges on Earth. Imagine a time when these peaks towered as high as the Himalayas, their jagged summits piercing the sky long before any human set foot on this land. Over hundreds of millions of years, relentless wind, rain, and ice wore them down. What was once a landscape of sharp, dramatic peaks has softened into the rolling forested hills we see today. The Appalachians have witnessed the rise and fall of continents, the shifting of oceans, and the slow march of glacier. Formed by the collision of ancient continents, these mountains have long been considered a passive, stable margin. Nothing like the restless, earthquake-prone West Coast. Their reputation is one of quiet endurance. A landscape seemingly immune to sudden change. For generations, people built their lives here, trusting the ground beneath them was as solid as it gets. Families farmed the valleys, built homes, and passed down stories, all under the watchful presence of these ancient hills. The Appalachians became a symbol of permanence. Their slow erosion a reminder of the planet's deep, steady rhythms. To many, these mountains seemed eternal, unchanging, and safe. A backdrop to everyday life. Geological surprises seemed unthinkable. These mountains were supposed to be finished with all that drama. The idea of sudden upheaval felt distant, almost impossible in a place defined by patience and time. But the Earth has a way of surprising us, reminding us that even the quietest places are part of a dynamic system. Beneath the calm surface, forces are always at work, shifting and changing in ways we might not notice until they make themselves known. Sometimes those ancient rhythms speed up suddenly, shockingly, and on a human time scale. What seems permanent can shift in an instant, catching everyone off guard. The long peaceful slumber of the Appalachians has been interrupted. The mountains, once thought to be finished with their story, are stirring once again. The old mountains, it turns out, might not be so retired after all. Their story continues, reminding us that even the most ancient landscapes are alive with possibility and change. Sudden Appalachian Uplift. The first sign of trouble didn't come from the ground or from any local observer. Instead, it was the silent eyes in the sky, satellites orbiting high above the Earth, that noticed something strange unfolding over the Appalachian Mountains. In July 2025, these satellites detected the unthinkable. The central and southern Appalachian were rising fast. The data showed a dramatic, almost surreal change in elevation, as if the ancient mountains were suddenly coming alive. In less than a week, some areas had lifted by 12 centimeters, an impossible pace for mountains that had been stable for millions of years. Geologists, stunned by the numbers, double and triple checked the data, searching for errors or glitches. But there was no mistake. A 400-mile stretch was swelling upward, centered in the coal-rich heart of Appalachia. The uplift was too widespread and too rapid to be dismissed as a fluke. On the surface, life in the small Appalachian towns continued as usual. People went about their routines unaware that the ground beneath their feet was shifting in ways never seen before. But deep below, something massive and mysterious was pushing the land skyward. The forces at work were unlike anything the region had experienced in recorded history. The scientific world was stunned. News of the rapid uplift spread quickly through universities and research centers, sparking urgent discussions and heated debates. What could possibly cause such rapid widespread uplift? Was it a new tectonic event or something even stranger? Theories began to swirl, but no one had answers. The forces required to move so much land so quickly were immense, and the region's reputation for geological stability was shattered overnight. Headlines around the world questioned what was happening in Appalachia. Suddenly, the Appalachians, once considered ancient and unchanging, became the world's biggest geological mystery, drawing attention from every corner of the globe. Scientists scrambled for answers, racing to understand the phenomenon. International reporters flocked to the region, and the eyes of the world turned to these old hills, now at the center of a global puzzle. Research teams deployed seismic sensors and drilled deep core samples, hoping to uncover clues about what was stirring beneath the surface. Every new piece of data only deepened the mystery. The quiet mountains, once overlooked and peaceful, were now the center of global attention. An unfolding story that no one could ignore. Geological Red Alert. In geology, a red alert is the highest warning reserved for extreme, potentially hazardous events. On July 7, 2025, the U.S. Geological Survey declared a geologic red alert for the Appalachian. This was unprecedented for such a stable region. The alert mobilized scientists and warned the public. Something unknown and potentially dangerous was happening. Could this lead to earthquakes, landslides, or infrastructure failures? No one knew. The rapid uplift was a symptom, but the cause was a mystery. Red alerts are rare, usually reserved for active volcanic zones, not the quiet east. The scale of uplift was staggering, forcing everyone to confront a new reality. Even the most stable parts of our planet can change suddenly and dramatically. The fire alarm had been pulled for the old mountains. Theories. Scientists raced to explain the uplift. Two main theories emerged. First, a mantle plume, a column of hot rock rising from deep within the Earth, heating and swelling the crust above. Second, lithospheric delamination, where a dense chunk of the Earth's outer layer peels away and sinks, causing the lighter crust to rebound upward. Both would be monumental discoveries signaling a new era of geological activity. Researchers deployed seismic sensors, gravity meters, and geochemical tools to peer deep beneath the Appalachian. The stakes were high, and the mystery was just beginning. To solve the mystery, scientists searched for invisible clues. Airborne magnetometers revealed a significant weakening of the magnetic field over the uplift zone. Evidence of intense heat rising from below. This pointed toward the mantle plume theory. Geochemists tested soil and water, searching for helium-3, a rare isotope from deep within the Earth. The results were stunning. Helium-3 levels were hundreds of times higher than normal. This was a smoking gun, linking the uplift to the deep mantle. The combination of magnetic and geochemical evidence overwhelmingly supported the mantle plume hypothesis. A column of ancient hot, helium-rich material was rising beneath the Appalachian. The old mountains were being reshaped by forces from the planet's fiery depths. The invisible world below was making itself known. Red alert. For 12 million people living in the red alert zone, the ground beneath their feet was no longer a symbol of security or stability. Instead, it had become a source of constant anxiety. The biggest fear now was earthquakes, sudden, unpredictable, and potentially devastating. The region's infrastructure, much of it built decades ago, was never designed to withstand seismic shocks. Bridges, roads, and buildings that had stood for generations were suddenly vulnerable. Their foundations threatened by forces they were never meant to resist. Uplift and shifting tectonic plates stressed ancient faults deep beneath the mountains, raising the risk of moderate to strong quakes. Geologists worked around the clock, monitoring every tremor and searching for signs of what might come next. Rivers and streams, once predictable, could now shift course overnight, causing sudden floods or unexpected water shortages. Erosion along river banks threatened farmland and homes, adding to the uncertainty. Roads, railways, and pipelines faced sudden, unpredictable damage. Transportation and supply lines were at risk, making it harder for communities to stay connected and for help to arrive when needed. Fracking operations came to a halt. Injecting fluids underground was now considered far too risky. The energy industry, a major employer in the region, faced an uncertain future as workers packed up equipment and left sites idle. The psychological impact was profound. Anxiety and fear crept into daily life as families wondered if the next tremor would be the one to change everything. Generations had trusted these hills, building lives and memories on their slopes. Now, uncertainty reigned, and the familiar landscape felt unpredictable and even threatening. Town hall meetings filled with anxious residents, all eager for answers and reassurance. Community leaders struggled to provide guidance in the face of so many unknowns. Emergency agencies reviewed evacuation routes, updated disaster plans, and launched public safety campaigns to prepare people for the worst. Sirens and alerts became part of daily life. Engineers and inspectors fanned out across the region, checking bridges, dams, and critical infrastructure, bracing for the unknown and working to prevent catastrophe. The response was massive, coordinated, and urgent. First responders, volunteers, and officials worked together, determined to protect their communities. The quiet mountains had woken up, and so had everyone living on their slopes. Families packed emergency kits, neighbors checked on each other, and a sense of vigilance settled over the region. Life in Appalachia would never be the same. The people, once confident in the strength of their land, now faced a future shaped by uncertainty and resilience. Conclusion. The Appalachian Uplift is more than a regional crisis. It's a wake-up call for our understanding of the planet. The old division between active and passive regions has been shattered. Even the most stable crust is connected to the restless mantle below. If a mantle plume can surface here, where else could it happen? Our maps of geological risk may be incomplete. Thanks to modern science, we detected this event before disaster struck. It's a rare chance to watch a major geological process unfold in real time. The awakening of the Appalachians reminds us we are temporary residents on a changing planet. The old mountains have spoken. The story of Earth is far from over. New chapters are being written, sometimes right beneath our feet.